Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening. How can a young person go to bed so early? Louisa suddenly understood. No wonder Bella sounded a bit off when she called this morning. Did Brooklyn give her trouble? Did the designer from the Reed family also join the design competition today? Thinking about it, Kenneth asked a bit angrily, "Is this injury on your hand related to her? If it is, I'll make the Reed family explain." "This has nothing to do with others," Arabella said, looking at Serena. "Aren't you going to make a phone call?" Serena had to reluctantly take out her phone. If she made the call, wouldn't all the lies be exposed? How could she live with herself after that? "Miss Bella, Serena has always treated you like her own sister." "You misunderstood her," Martha said, pretending to be heartbroken. "In Serena's heart, you hold the highest place. How could she possibly badmouth you, hurt your feelings, and destroy this precious sisterhood?" Arabella was annoyed. So all of this was her fault? Serena was innocent? Martha. Louisa reached out to stop her from continuing. "I know very well what kind of person Serena is, but Bella isn't someone who talks nonsense and creates trouble for no reason. Brooklyn is someone I've watched grow up since she was a kid. Even though she's a bit spoiled, she wouldn't be so unreasonable." Hearing this, Martha and Serena felt a sense of unease. If Brooklyn knew that Bella was my biological daughter and her engagement with Romeo was justified, and they both really liked each other, if she knew Serena's status, she wouldn't easily give Bella trouble. There were only two possibilities. One was that she didn't know Serena was adopted, and the other was that she didn't know Bella's real identity. So, did Serena not tell her? Or did she deliberately hide it from her, misleading her? This was important. If that girl from the Reed family thought that Bella stole Serena's fiancé, then what would Bella become? A shameless person who destroyed other people's relationships? A scheming girl? That's a serious issue. "If it's your friend who misunderstood, you should call her and explain everything," Louisa said. With tears in her eyes, Serena said in a pitiful voice, "Dad, Mom, don't worry, I'll call Brooklyn right now. Put it on speaker, I want to hear what she has to say." "Madam." Martha looked surprised. "Don't you trust Serena? You weren't like this before Miss Bella came home." Tears streamed down Serena's face. She felt wronged. Bella suffered for 18 years outside. Since the moment she stepped into this house, I have made a vow in my heart that from now on, I will protect her and not let her get hurt. Louisa looked at Martha and said, "Our whole family has regarded Serena as our own child for the last 18 years. Even after Bella came back, our care and concern for Serena haven't lessened. We're just showing a little more concern for Bella now. Is that wrong?" Seeing this, Martha immediately changed her attitude and hurriedly said, "Madam, you misunderstood. Of course it's right. Now that I know about this, I can't let my biological daughter be subject to all these rumors. I must find out what's really going on. Go make the call. Call Brooklyn. The truth would soon come out." Serena knew she couldn't avoid it. With tears streaming down her face, she dialed Brooklyn's alternate number. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The phone kept ringing, but no one answered on the other end. Serena breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that Brooklyn had two phones and two numbers. "Brooklyn's probably asleep by now. It's okay, I'll try again." Serena knew that Brooklyn seldom used this number, so she was confident when she dialed again. As expected, nobody answered the call. Brooklyn must be sleeping. Martha breathed a sigh of relief in her mind, relieved that Brooklyn didn't answer the call, or else Serena's cover would be blown. Louisa glanced at the clock. It was only 10 o'clock at night. It was unlikely for a young lad to go to bed so early. Try leaving her a voicemail. Hearing Louisa's suggestion, Serena was stunned. Voicemail? Although Brooklyn had two mobile numbers, she only had one WhatsApp account. If she called now, wouldn't she be asking for trouble? "I think I have Brooklyn's WhatsApp." Louisa suddenly remembered, took out her phone, and started looking for Brooklyn's WhatsApp. Serena was frightened. If Louisa contacted Brooklyn directly, it would be better for her to make the call. "Mom, let me make the call," Serena hurriedly said. "I can handle this small matter on my own." She plucked up the courage to make a voicemail call, and within a few seconds, Brooklyn answered. "Serena? Haven't you gone to bed yet?" Brooklyn's cheerful voice came from the other end. "Brooklyn, did you cause trouble for my sister today?" Serena didn't wait for her to answer but blurted out, "I know you mean well, but my sister and Romeo are truly in love. Please stop bothering my sister, she misunderstood everything. I have to go explain everything to her now, so don't cause any more trouble." Upon saying this, Serena quickly hung up the phone. Brooklyn was stunned. What was going on? Why did Serena suddenly call and say all this? Did Arabella cause trouble for Serena? Serena wouldn't sit back and let her sister bully her like this. She's just a little assistant. What's there to be afraid of? Brooklyn subconsciously touched her own neck, recalling how Arabella had hit her at the competition today. Serena must have been threatened, hence the unexpected call. The WhatsApp message she sent to Serena today also went unanswered. Thinking about this, Brooklyn dialed again, worried about Serena's safety. After Serena hung up the voicemail, she turned off her phone. Unable to get through, Brooklyn could only leave a message asking about the situation. Seeing no response from Serena, she grew even more worried. Serena lifted her tearful eyes and said pitifully, "Sister, don't worry, I won't snatch your husband from you. His heart and eyes only see you. It's pointless even if I wanted to." Before Arabella could say anything, Serena had already stood up, sadly saying, "I won't eat his late-night snack anymore, in case you guys misunderstand again. I'll go upstairs to rest now." Speaking of which, she innocently turned around, ready to leave. Just then, the living room phone rang. As soon as Edith picked it up, she hurriedly brought it over and said, "Madam, someone's looking for you." She handed the phone to Louisa, adding, "It's from Brooklyn." Brooklyn? Serena wanted to snatch the phone, but it was too late. With one foot already out of the dining room, she was in a state of indecision, feeling uneasy and anxious. "Brooklyn," Louisa took over the phone and asked affectionately, "What's up?" "Auntie, Serena's phone is off, I'm worried about her. I have to tell you something about your relative, Arabella." Brooklyn wanted to say that Arabella had violent tendencies. But Louisa asked naturally, "Oh, you mean my daughter Bella? What's wrong with her?" "Your daughter?" Now it was Brooklyn's turn to be stunned. She stuttered for a few seconds before asking, "Arabella is your daughter?" "Yes." "Your own child?" "Yes." "So she's really Serena's sister? Then why did Serena say she's..." "What?" Brooklyn asked subconsciously, "Isn't Arabella your relative? Did Serena tell you that? That Bella is a relative." Hearing this, Serena hurriedly ran over and took the phone. "Brooklyn, why are you calling again? What relative? Stop talking nonsense. We're busy, stop causing trouble." After hanging up, Serena quickly explained, "Mom, don't listen to Brooklyn's nonsense, she must have heard wrong. I never said that Sis is a relative." Seeing her panicked and angry, Louisa's gaze darkened a bit. "Serena, you've always been an understanding and kind child. You should know what to do next." "Mom, don't worry, I'll tell all my friends that Sis and Romeo are the real couple. I'm just an adopted daughter. I absolutely won't compete with her for a husband. I won't take anything that belongs to her. Believe it or not, in my heart, Sis is the most important. I'm really sorry if you guys misunderstood." She shed 2 lines of tears and took the opportunity to leave. Arabella had been watching this drama while eating and was now full. "Dad, Mom, take your time. I'm going upstairs." She was preparing to leave. "Bella." Louisa quickly stopped her and said, "Let me put some medicine on you." "No need, I can handle this minor injury myself." Arabella didn't think much of the injury, but Louisa insisted on making her sit down and, following Romeo's handwritten instructions, first applied some swelling medicine and then some pain relief cream. "Did Brooklyn give you trouble today? What did she say?" Louisa wanted to get a clear picture of what happened. She didn't say much. It was all a load of bull. "It looks like Serena purposely misled Brooklyn into thinking you're a family member." "Well, it's understandable. Serena had been the darling of the family for 18 years after all. She's the only princess in the family. Then one day, this girl show up, saying she's the real lady of the house, and Serena was just some kid with no blood ties. Anyone would find such a sudden change hard to swallow. Maybe she wanted to save face in front of her friends, Louisa guessed, or maybe she didn't dare to spill the beans before your identity was revealed. Anyway, this whole thing has put you in an awkward spot. I don't feel awkward. Arabella simply couldn't stand that fake girl playing victim in front of her every day. Tonight was just a good opportunity to give her a taste of her own medicine. Unexpectedly, that fake girl started crying and playing the victim again. What an actress. Kenneth, feeling sorry for her, said, "Wait until your grandparents get better. Then we can go visit them together and let them decide when to reveal your identity. No rush." Arabella planned to go to a dangerous area soon. If her identity was revealed prematurely, those people couldn't touch her, and they would naturally cause trouble for her family. Even though Kenneth and Louisa were surrounded by bodyguards, they were obviously no match for those people. What if those people targeted the elderly at home? Arabella thought for a while and made a decision. Besides the dangerous area, some other threats must be dealt with quickly. Serena returned to her room, crying her eyes out and fuming. "Brooklyn, that idiot." "Brooklyn is just worried about you," Martha comforted her. "Don't be angry, you should be happy to have such a friend. I was almost screwed over by her tonight." Serena sobbed, recalling her parents in different expressions. She felt aggrieved and angry. It seemed like they trusted Arabella more and cared more about her feelings. 18 years of kinship. Can't it really compete with blood ties? They promised to treat me like their own daughter. But their words were always in favor of Arabella, which made her feel upset. Such favoritism couldn't be more obvious. Thank goodness Hans has already gone to bed. He doesn't know what happened just now otherwise. Martha couldn't help but remind her, "Be careful in the future. Don't give that girl any leverage. I think she's a tattletale." Serena agreed with this view. "Remember when you wanted her to go visit Philip Macmillan with you? She not only refused but also deliberately skipped lunch to draw Mr. and Mrs. S attention. So low." Serena also thought that if Arabella wasn't so cunning and cold, and if she really tried to please her and get along with her, they could still be a pair of superficially close sisters. But Arabella was always sarcastic towards her and made things difficult for her. It's time for her to taste some hardship. Martha's eyes flashed with determination. "We must make Mr. and Mrs. realize that she is not as perfect as they imagine. Don't think playing the piano and making some clothes made her superior." When it came to a real aristocratic upbringing, Serena was far behind that girl. The next morning, after Arabella finished breakfast and was about to go to work, Hans said, "I'll take you." Upon hearing this, Serena almost dropped her utensils. "No need, I have someone to take me." Arabella stood up and said, "Enjoy your breakfast. I'll be home for dinner tonight." Hans looked at Edith, who quickly explained, "It's Romeo. He picks up and drops off Miss Bella for work every day." "Romeo?" Louisa laughed and said, "He's really dedicated. I heard he gave Bella another pink diamond from QY." Hans was surprised. So, the pink diamond he planned to give to his sister was already presented by Romeo? "I'm going to confront him." Hans had just left the main hall and hadn't even gone out the front door when he saw Romeo, from afar, holding his sister's face and saying something. His eyes were filled with displeasure. He quickened his pace, but before he could get near, they had already left in a car. At the clothing company. Upon seeing Arabella, Dean immediately approached her and said, "You're finally here. Our company's phone has been ringing off the hook. Lots of people specifically want to buy clothes designed by Molly from the competition. Some manufacturers want to order thousands, tens of thousands at once. What are you waiting for? Clear the production line immediately and ramp up production." Those were all things Molly had designed herself, and Arabella held the copyright, so they could produce as much as they wanted. Also, Molly's previous designs have been selling out in all major department stores. Shall we seize the opportunity to produce more? Dean blocked the elevator door, waiting for Arabella to get in, then pressed the button for the top floor. "Of course." Arabella responded immediately. "Let Molly design some new styles, strike while the iron is hot, and set up a new category for Molly on the company's official website and online store. Also, headquarters is talking about giving Molly a 10-fold pay raise. You go confirm with them, get it done as soon as possible, and try to get it into Molly's hands by next month." 10-fold. Dean's eyes widened. Molly's salary was 800, 10-fold would be 8,000. That's way too much. She won the national championship. 8,000 is a bargain. At the competition that day, some people offered 10,000 or 20,000, wanting Molly to work at their company. But Molly didn't agree. Oh right, a customer asked our official website's customer service this morning if we authorized other stores to sell Molly's new designs for this season. As the elevator door dinged open, Dean followed Arabella's steps, reporting as he walked. Because the design style is very similar, the packaging box and our previous ones are exactly the same, and the store is even using our company's logo, but the price is much cheaper than our usual selling price. The store has already sold over 1,000 new items, but these new items are not from Molly. I'm worried that if there is any problem with these new items, it will affect our company and tarnish Molly's reputation. What do you think we should do about this? Arabella pushed open the office door and dismissively said, "What's the big deal? Just send a few reliable employees, pretend to be customers, place orders at their store, and then you'll know their shipping address and phone number, right? Then report it to the police, and let them handle the rest." Arabella was too lazy to investigate this minor issue herself. With the basic information, the police could get to the bottom of it. "Right, I'll get on it right away." After a while, Arabella's phone rang. Breaking news. Harry has revealed their family's dirty laundry to the media. What dirty laundry? Arabella sat in her office chair, turning on her computer. Harry stated that years ago, after Hunt had a car accident, they took over his company and kicked his wife and Molly out of the house. He also said he has nightmares every night about Hunt, who has turned into a vengeful spirit haunting them. His parents and Myra couldn't bear it and chose to commit suicide, leaving only him. He decided to return the company and house to their rightful owner, hoping to be forgiven by Hunt in heaven. Arabella raised an eyebrow and asked, "Does anyone actually believe this news?" Lots of people believed Harry and his gang got what they deserved. At the same time, the public's opinion was all about how Molly, against all odds, managed to study design and bag the championship. She's one tough cookie, and people were totally falling for her. Arabella knew the news must be about her brother. He gave the Coopers a day to return what they had stolen. Their coming clean must have been Harry's idea, not something her brother forced. But as for Ken, his wife, and the cause of Myra's death, there's got to be more to it than just suicide. I've checked up on it. Ken, his wife, their daughter Myra, and those 22 thugs who attacked you that night, they've all vanished into thin air. No trace of them. Only one person could pull a stunt like that. Jack and Arabella both thought of the same person at the same time, Romeo. Arabella remembered last night when Romeo said he had some sudden business to handle. Could it be that he went to fix her problem? With that thought, her eyes deepened. Design department. A crowd gathered around Molly, chattering excitedly. "Molly, you actually won the national championship? That's badass. You've made our company proud. You're Cooper's daughter. Why didn't you tell us before? You've been flying under the radar. The Cooper's apparel company is yours? I can't believe Myra and her gang were so ruthless, stealing your stuff and trying to destroy you. Thank heavens for your dad's spirit watching over you. Otherwise, who knows how long these conscienceless people would torment you, making you eat humble pie." Molly knew it wasn't her dad's spirit, but Arabella and Mr. Collins stepped in to help her. Grateful, she responded to the barrage of questions. "Molly, what's your plan now? You're a national champion now, and your family returned the company to you. Have you thought about going solo? Like taking over the company and establishing your own brand? Molly, promise you won't forget me when you've made it big. If Miss Bennet ever fires me, you've got to take me in." Molly looked at her colleagues, smiling faintly, and said, "I wouldn't be here without Miss Bennet's guidance and support. I'm not leaving this place. I don't have the chops to run a company yet, so I need to stay and learn more from Miss Bennet." "So what about your company?" everyone asked. "I'll leave the day-to-day management to the experienced executives. If I run into any issues, I'll ask Miss Bennet for advice." Molly checked the time and said, "Gotta run. I need to see Miss Bennet." She rode the elevator to the 20th floor and knocked on the office door. "Miss Bennet, it's me. Come in." Molly opened the door, smiling as she returned the keys. "Miss Bennet, Harry just returned to the house he previously occupied. Thanks for lending me yours." Arabella raised an eyebrow. Was she aware of this? Only last night, when I went to pay the utility bills, did the property management tell me you're the owner of this house. I had no idea you were the one renting it to us. Arabella always used to say it was a friend's house and the rent was dirt cheap. She felt so ashamed. She lowered her head as she said this, then quickly burst into laughter. You've been helping me non-stop, pushing me to the top, showing me a whole new world. So, I've decided I'm sticking with you, learning the ropes. Despite her outstanding performance in the contest, many praised her as the new up-and-coming designer, the next Maestro Stylish. Only she knew that it's all thanks to Arabella's help that she could create such stunning designs, win the championship, boost her fame, and win over so many fans. The real deal here was Arabella. Without Arabella, she wouldn't be where she was now. I'm giving you 3 months, Arabella said with a smile. After that, you go back and run your own company. 3 months. She had hoped to learn from Arabella for 3, 5, or even 10 years. 3 months is plenty for you. Arabella believed she was a bright one. You're super smart and full of ideas. You're definitely going to shine in the design world. Molly looked at her, full of gratitude. Your salary is all settled, and you have a place to live. I'll take that key back. Thank you, Miss Bennet. Call me Arabella when it's just the two of us. All this time, Arabella had treated her as a friend. Otherwise, she wouldn't have helped her so much. Molly said gratefully and joyfully, Arabella, I'm so glad I met you. Ever since she met Arabella, her life had taken a drastic turn, completely different from before. After a full-on day. After work, Romeo took Arabella back to Moon Villa. The marigolds had been planted, stretching as far as the eye could see. The pink and white flowers surrounding the lake under the setting sun looked like a fairyland. It seemed never-ending, a sea of pink and white flowers wherever she looked. Romeo held Arabella from behind, whispering in her ear, I have a surprise for you. A surprise? This beautiful sea of flowers was already a surprise for her. What other surprises could there be? Romeo covered her eyes with one hand and held her waist with the other, whispering a countdown in her ear. Counting down from 3 to 1, he slowly let go. Arabella looked up to see thousands of butterflies dancing among the flowers. So many butterflies? Where did they come from? Was it magic? Do you like it? It was something Romeo had prepared in advance. The colorful butterflies flew out of the bag, dancing in the beautiful sea of flowers like a beautiful painting. I love it. Arabella's eyes were filled with the beautiful view and happiness. She smiled, I really love it. As long as you like it, I can catch them for you to see every day. Romeo held her even tighter. Unfortunately, she couldn't stay for dinner these 2 days. Otherwise, he could have prepared another surprise for her and spent more time with her. Arabella spotted a transparent round glass house among the flowers with a top-notch crystal piano inside. She could tell it was a well-known international piano brand, worth 30 million. Do you want to hear me play the piano? Arabella walked into the glass house and played an improvised, beautiful piano piece for him. Romeo watched her beautiful face as she played. Her exquisite features softened his gaze even more. Her slender fingers freely switching on the keys. Every move, every expression were incomparably beautiful. After the song ended, Romeo leaned over and kissed her, saying, that was beautiful. He heard her voice in the song. She was happy at this moment. Romeo sat down and said, I'll play one for you too. Arabella was somewhat surprised. He can play the piano too? Watching his fingers dance nimbly on the keys, even though it was improvised, it sounded no less professional. His piano skills surprised Arabella slightly. This familiar feeling reminded her of the well-known piano prodigy from a few years ago, Mr. Starr. Mr. Starr never showed his face when he played, only his hands were shown. They were lean and good-looking, but one could tell he was a young boy. On the internet, there were only 3 videos of Mr. Starr's performances, one released each year. Arabella remembered every detail and every piano technique clearly. Unfortunately, he stopped releasing videos a few years ago. His fans waited for years, the hype gradually faded, and then Melody became the new fan favorite. It seemed like Mr. Starr was slowly being forgotten. After the song ended, Arabella looked up and asked, Are you Mr. Starr? Romeo was somewhat surprised. Just from watching him play, this young girl knew who he was. She was really smart. Mr. Star has good-looking hands, Arabella added. Romeo smiled and asked, what about the person himself? What kind of question was that? It's fine being complimented by you, even if it's just my hands. It makes me happy and satisfied. Romeo lowered his head and gently kissed her. This is a song I composed for you, called Renai Circulation da. Arabella's eyes softened even more. Romeo sent the song to her phone saying, I recorded this in advance. It's for you. The song was romantic and beautiful, expressing his love for her. Arabella could hear his voice. He was really saying, I love you. Romeo saw the sun setting. It was getting dark. He had to take her home. He heard her brother was back these 2 days. She had to go home for dinner. Although he was reluctant, Romeo still respected her decision. In the car, Romeo gently applied medicine for her, saying, be careful when you shower, don't get it wet. Okay. You don't need to change the dressing tonight. I'll help you change it when I take you to work tomorrow. All right. Arabella watched his careful manner, feeling a warmth in her heart. Butler Derek noticed something special about Arabella's piano playing skills. She was as good as the boss, no doubt about it. Her style was kind of like Melody's. Thinking about how Melody played the piano, then recalling Ms. Bella's performance just now. The more Derek thought about it, the more it seemed to add up. Finally, he couldn't resist asking Carl. When he found out Ms. Bella was actually the internationally renowned Maestro Melody and remembered how she saved lives twice before, Derek was dumbstruck and deeply impressed. Who would have thought that Ms. Bella's hands could not only save lives but also create beautiful music? Most importantly, she was so young and stunningly beautiful. The boss sure hit the jackpot. 2 days later, Arabella, following Romeo, came to visit Grandpa at Fairfield Manor, hearing that Grandma had also moved back. In the past, Philip had been in poor health, was unable to take care of himself, and had to be hospitalized frequently. Grandma was then sent to a high-end nursing home, where professional doctors and nurses took care of her around the clock, and a group of top doctors were specifically studying her condition. Now those top doctors were helpless. Grandpa's body had recovered, so they brought Grandma back to take care of her personally. Brody brought a bowl of traditional medicine. Sir, have your medicine first? Get it out of here. Philip frowned, looking disgusted. When Bella comes later, my mouth will be full of the bitter taste of the medicine. How can I talk to her? Just then, a servant loudly announced, Romeo and Arabella are here. Seeing Romeo leading Arabella into the courtyard, Philip was instantly cheered up. Bella, you finally came to see me. Completely ignoring the tall and handsome Romeo beside him. Grandpa. Arabella raised a smile, and seeing Brody beside her, she also politely greeted, Grandpa Brody, is the medicine ready? Yes, Miss Bella. Brody grinned respectfully, thinking to himself, now let's see what he do, sir. Arabella took over the bowl and naturally held it in front of Philip, saying, Grandpa, the medicine should be taken while it's hot. You look much better today than before. Absolutely true, it's all because of your good medicine. I feel refreshed every day when I wake up. I was just about to drink the medicine. It's all Brody's fault for talking non-stop. I forgot. Philip hurriedly took over the bowl, saying awkwardly, I'm very self-disciplined in taking medicine. The servants on the side was speechless. Who was the one who didn't want to take medicine every day? And who was the one pretending to be good in front of Miss Bella now? Philip drank the medicine in one breath and asked with great momentum, why is there only half a bowl today? Is there any more in the kitchen? Brody couldn't help but chuckle. Half a bowl is enough, Sir Philip. I'll go get some sugar and snacks. You sit with Romeo and Arabella for a while. Go, go. After chasing away Brody, Philip warmly said, Bella, come here. Have you been busy lately? Arabella sat down and said, not busy. Has this kid bullied you? If he has, Grandpa will stand up for you. He's very good. Arabella glanced at Romeo. He had been taking care of her in every detail since they met. Really? Philip was half doubtful. If there's anything he doesn't do well, you must tell Grandpa. I'll back you up. Philip turned to his grandson and said, Kid, you must be extra nice to Bella. Don't get outdone by a better and younger guy one day. You'll regret it when it's too late. Bella likes older men. Romeo sat down and asked softly, Where's Grandma? She just finished sunbathing, and the servant took her to change her clothes. Why is it taking so long? At this time, Brody brought tea and snacks. "Please invite Shirley over right away." Brody personally pushed Shirley out of the inner room. The kind Shirley, dressed in gorgeous clothes, looked radiant. Sitting in a wheelchair, motionless, she exuded the elegant demeanor of a person living in a superior environment. From the looks of it, she had been cared for meticulously. From head to toe, every single strand of her hair was neatly combed, her nails were well manicured, and even her outfit was chosen based on her old habits. If she could move and speak, that would be a sweet, lovely granny. "Dear, Bella is here to see you." Philip took his wife's hand, introducing her with a beaming face. "This is the Arabella I've been telling you about. Look, isn't she pretty? Not only is she a looker, she plays the piano and saves lives too. Our grandson sure hit the jackpot hooking up with this one." He heard Arabella was a piano prodigy mentored by Melody. Arabella smiled gently at the kindly old lady and said, "Hello Granny, my name is Arabella. It's a pleasure to meet you." She touched the necklace around her neck and said, "Thank you for the gift, I really like it." She then brought out a gift and said, "This is for you." "What's this?" Philip took it on her behalf, and upon opening, it turned out to be a beautiful gold bracelet. "This is some high-quality gold. You can tell it's a unique design, you're too kind." Philip presented it to Shirley, saying, "See how pretty it is. Let me put it on for you." He carefully put the bracelet on his wife's wrist and said, "If your granny could react, she'd probably be hugging you right now. But alas, with this illness, no one could change. Though she could blink and breathe, her other symptoms were like those of a vegetable." Romeo didn't know when Arabella had prepared a gift for Granny, and it was even such an expensive bracelet. He felt both touched and heartbroken. Some rich girls used to visit Grandpa under the pretense of visiting Granny, bringing gifts to curry favor with Grandpa. Because in their subconscious, vegetables didn't need gifts. Even if they did give, it was a waste. But Arabella treated Granny as a real human being, not a vegetable. She truly respected and treated her. That's where she stood out. Arabella held Granny's wrist and said, "Granny, when you get better, we can go out together, have meals, go shopping, and even travel together to see the world." Upon hearing this, Philip had to turn away to hold back his tears. Romeo reached out and patted his back, as if to comfort him. By this time, Arabella had finished her examination and withdrew her hand, having drawn the conclusion in her mind, "I believe that day will come soon." As Romeo said before, Granny indeed suffered from brain damage. A long time ago, she treated a similar case where the patient became a vegetable due to a brain injury. Although the patient was eventually cured, it required lots of different drugs, some of which were extremely rare and hard to get. Some were even in regions outside the border, where going to fetch the medicine could risk one's life. But Granny's case was different from that patient's. Her life probably didn't have much time left. During the examination just now, Arabella noticed it. However, Arabella did not immediately tell them but decided to think about the solution after going back. If she told them now, it would only cause them anxiety and sadness without any other help. After accompanying Grandpa and Granny on the way back to Reflection's villa, Romeo asked in a low voice, "Did you find anything wrongs?" Arabella was confused. Did he know she was just checking on her grandma? "Your grandma indeed had a brain injury, and the chances of recovery are slim." Arabella didn't beat around the bush and just told it like it was. Romeo couldn't believe that she could make a diagnosis just by feeling her grandma's wrist. Her medical skills, no doubt, were way ahead of those many well-known doctors. Arabella knew that to cure her grandma's condition, 49 different drugs were needed. Finding these 49 drugs was like finding a needle in a haystack, especially one called cinnamomum tenuis, which was as rare as hen's teeth. This drug had once appeared in the triangular zone, but that place was as dangerous as a snake pit. Even though Arabella had her own crew there, she wouldn't set foot in that area lightly. Not to mention, it was still up in the air whether the drug was there. At night, Arabella had people looking for many drugs with similar effects to cinnamomum tenuis. She tried them all at Villa Cascada, but no dice. It looked like she was going to have to take a trip to the triangular zone herself tomorrow. On the other side, Philip called Romeo saying, "Romeo, your grandma's breathing rhythm was off today, and her blood pressure has dropped a lot. I'm not sure if it's getting better or worse." Romeo could hear his panic. "I'll get Grandpa James to check on her." Grandpa James was a renowned doctor both at home and abroad, and he just happened to be in Summerfield. "Don't sweat it, I'll be there soon." "Okay, come back ASAP." "All right." After wrapping up his work at the company, Romeo rushed back to Fairfield Manor. James Newton had just finished checking on his grandma. He sighed and said helplessly, "This is a sign of a vegetative state patient nearing death. In other words, your grandma doesn't have much time left." Upon hearing this, Philip passed out like he was struck by lightning. Philip? The butler turned as pale as a ghost and said, "Dr. Caden, please help Philip." James gave him a quick glance and said, "He's just a tad shocked. Let him rest in his room." "Grandpa James, is there any other way?" Romeo asked in a deep voice. His grandma was the rock of their family. If she passed away, Grandpa might not be able to hang on. To their grandpa, Grandma was of utmost importance. He could say she was more important than his own life. "There is a way, but it's a long shot," James said helplessly. "There's a drug called cinnamomum tenuis. It's so rare that many doctors have never even heard of it, let alone seen it. Finding it is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Only a handful of people in this world knew what it looked like." "Would this drug help with Grandma's condition?" Romeo asked seriously. "Absolutely, but it's extremely hard to find. Your grandma's condition might not wait that long." James took a sip of his tea, stood up and said, "I'm out of my depth here. I should go." "See Grandpa James off," Romeo ordered. Immediately, someone handed over a blank check. James waved it away, saying, "I didn't help with anything. I can't accept this check, it would sit wrong with me. I'll tell you one thing though. Go find Dr. Bell, he might have a solution." Romeo answered honestly, "We've been searching for the past 6 months, but we haven't found any trace of Dr. Bell." James waved his hand helplessly and said, "Then there's nothing I can do." Romeo gave a signal, and a servant immediately followed James, insisting that he accept the consultation fee. "You've given such valuable information. It's already a huge help for the Macmillan family." Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.